Good morning and happy Thursday. Welcome to another one of these. It's a gorgeous November day here in San Diego. It's 87 degrees. 87. I'm not sure where that came from. It's been in the low 70s. Look at that. This is what we pay for. It's what we pay a lot of money for. So today we're working on Sean's car, the 01 Carbon Black. We're going to finish up the brakes. Before we can do that, we've got to install some wheel bearings, which I am en route to pick up. Both front bearings, rotors, new pads, set screws, and sensors. And then that car needs to go. The shop is over capacity right now. We need to get that out of there, so the goal is to finish that up today. The 545 is a real pain in the ass. We got the Valvetronic module from eBay, the used one. We put that in. No difference. Unfortunately, still missing on cylinder 2. We've moved plugs and coils around. It is not that. We've checked compression. It is not that. We're right in line with other cylinders. Injectors are my next guess, but that does not explain why it runs so well initially. The first 120 seconds or so after starting, it runs great. Smooth, quiet, nice idle. Then once it goes to its kind of warm idle, then we're missing on 2, elevated revs, car shakes, check engine light, engine malfunction, all of that shit. So, I personally think it's a DME, but I don't know that I have the tooling or the coding infrastructure to program a new DME for the car, not to mention the $1,300 cost associated with buying a new DME. Now, can I go on eBay and buy a used ME9 or MS9 DME for an N62 B44 out of a 745, a 545, a 645, anything else with that engine? Can I put that in there and just have it work? I'm not sure. Does it need to be coded to the VIN? Does it need to be coded to options for the car? Probably not, but I don't know. We got to get the customer on the phone and see what he wants to do next. Also, maybe the fuel injector gets warm. Back to that. Fuel injector gets warm after, those first 2 minutes, and that's the problem. So I would like to switch 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 injectors and see if that makes a difference. Not sure how much work is associated with that. I have removed the fuel injectors from an N62 B44 before, Susan's 02 745. I don't remember that being terrible, but I did that during the valve cover job. So we'll let you know. I'll give you some updates today, try to film a little bit. The air quality today is just incredible. Look out there, we're seeing full ranges. Absolutely gorgeous. Better late than never, right? So coming up on the end of Thursday, it's about 8 o'clock. I've gotten as much done as I can today. I've got a ton of cars to move in. Another one on the side, another one out front. So what happened today? Marvin's car is back. This is an 02, the 1 of 5 car in steel gray. We had this sometime back in June, I think. We did a bunch of work on it, including valve cover gaskets. And he drove the car and noticed that there was some smoke coming from the upper left side of the engine bay, which unfortunately was a leaking valve cover again. So we're changing that free of charge. I don't know if I mentioned that yesterday or not, but the post-mortem revealed that the gasket got pinched down right where you can't see it, and I can't really get an inspection mirror in there. So that's my fault. That sucks. That's the first one that I haven't gotten right, but we're making it right for him. So the gasket comes tomorrow. I've got the little grommets there for the bolts. We're just going to replace everything, clean everything up again, do it right. We did the EVAT purge valve before. Then while it's in here, he had deferred a few items then. We're going to do those now, inclusive of front brakes, pads, rotors, set screws, wear sensor, etc. Passenger side mirror actuator. FM radio's not working, so I'm going to take a look at the FARCA connection on the antenna, see what's going on there, and something else trivial. Hopefully that won't be here long. This guy, this is the one from Wisconsin. I need to drive it a bunch. Per customer request to see what it's going to need after a few years of storage. Before we do that, I want to replace all the brake lines. One, the mouse chew, the little shorty by the ABS sensor under the hood, or ABS module. So we're going to replace those 2, and then all 4 soft lines at each wheel, and then bleed the system out. Then I'll be able to drive it. The other red car out there is all done, ready for testing. I want to put a few miles on it. Hopefully this weekend, which would mean tomorrow, needs to go get its new tires installed. These are really old, dry rotted, cracked, really nasty tires. So he ordered some new ones. They're at the Costco a mile from here. It goes over tomorrow at 3:15. So that should be done tomorrow. Mine, just chilling. Space Gray M5 up there. Came in for diff noise. We changed the fluid again, bedded the clutches, It was fine. Then it sits around a couple days, doesn't move much, and it's still grinding. So I don't know if that's just really worn out clutches and it needs a diff or a rebuild or another fluid change or an additive. I got to do research on that. Secondarily, we're doing the front rotors and replacing the front left wheel because it's bent. So did I say rotors? Bearings. I've done all the prep work here tonight after Mike and my dad left. I got the caliper off and hung from the strut or from the spring. The wheel carrier's about ready to come out. I released the control arms. They came right out. I didn't even have to use a ball joint separator. All 6 of them, amazingly. Both tie rods, straight arms, and curved arms. The pinch bolt's loose. It's just hanging there right now. I put a bunch of PB blaster up there, but I need another set of hands. Somebody put a pry bar in the back of the pinch right there and pry that open so we can slide it off. And you do have to remove the entire swivel bearing here to get to those 418s holding the bearing in. Got the pulse generator out and everything on both sides, so that'll be ready to put the new bearings in tomorrow. I have the parts. I'm also going to highly recommend we do rotors. These have a huge lip on them. They're original at 68,000 miles, and we have them off, so it's 0 labor, only parts costs. Pads themselves, I haven't even gotten a look. I would recommend we do pads too. They're pretty low, a little more than half used, and with new rotors, why not? They're not that much money. So that's what's going on here. In other news, I don't know if I filmed it, but we got some new tools, inch and metric bolt gauges. Super, super useful. It's an Amazon find. All my torque specs, you can buy that document if you want it. I've spent years creating that. And this poor car. Is it time for an update? Probably is. Back in May, he's coming back from dinner, 80 miles an hour on the highway, and traffic slows down ahead, so he slows down. Lady a couple cars back in a white pickup truck didn't notice that she was going 80 miles an hour into a 30 mile an hour bunch of traffic because there was an accident ahead. So she clears the back and goes around the front and tries to thread the needle, and it doesn't quite make it. So it's been a lengthy repair process up here. This is all new. This is new, and the whole front's new, and all of the suspension is new. And holy shit, is that expensive. So hopefully this settles out in a good way. Both front wheels refinished, new front tires, the entire suspension with the exception of the springs and the front links. It's all brand new, all OEM, you know me. All of that's new and torque to spec. We have a new radiator, pusher fan, oil cooler, power steering lines, core support, hardware, oil filter housing, secondary air pump, motor mounts. I mean, it's over 860 parts so far, including fasteners. And a lot of it is extra stuff that, you know, it's a 127,000 mile car. It's about due for it. The body shop did this, so that's going to be replaced or repaired. It's going to West Coast Specialties for paint, and they did paint work. This bumper's actually been painted, and then they did these at the same time. And it is flawless. They line up the metallic flake so it reflects light the same way. I mean, they are second to none. It's expensive, but it'll be perfect in terms of paint. Up here, I just put that on today. We got a new sticker. I mean, every fastener, every piece is right here. We're not skipping things. Even a new airflow sensor on the secondary air pump. That hose comes up here. Boy, have we learned a lot. Struts and wheel bearings, and we already had done the brakes and the links. That's why we didn't do the front links, but shit, it's a hell of a lot of work. And of course that triggers airbags, so new blast sensors up front. The dashboard's already been replaced. We got one on eBay, so no more blown dashboard over there. New airbags. We did seatbelt bolts, took the seats out, cleaned the carpet, new bolts there. Seatbelt pre-tensioners ×4, so those are nice and red now. No more airbag light. The only codes are headlights because they're not installed, parking sensors because they're not installed, solar sensor because it's not installed. I broke this cover taking it out, so we're going to replace that. It's going to get a windshield seal, solar sensor. Kind of anything and everything it needs to get back to better than it was is being done. Even new seat trims back there. So super lengthy process. Parts delays are a real pain in the ass. God, I mean, new battery foam in the trunk, like underneath the carpeting. There's the speaker cover. We're replacing the A-pillar covers because they were all faded out from the sun. Dash removal in this thing's a lot of work. That was 4 hours out, 4 hours in. There's torque specs for the CCC computer in here, which is hilarious. So we even torqued the nav computer to spec. Had to replace the glove box, not this part of it, but the actual bracket that holds like the surround that goes all around here. One of the screw plates broke off, just old brittle plastic, so that was a 3-week delay. It's coming along. We're waiting on a few key items right now before it goes in to have new fenders hung, new hood, new bumper, replaced both headlights, redid all the wiring on the headlights because my old stuff wasn't nearly as clean as what I can do now. I mean, I cut an inch off this cable and redid everything. It's 100% factory. Same on the other side. Nice to get all new cooling system parts and hardware. And we had already done a thermostat. The fan's new AC compressor, power steering pump, belts, pulleys, tensioners, mass airflow. On this side, there was a tab broken off the box, a new air box. Waiting on a bracket right now that's going to go down here, and a bunch of hardware that helps secure these. Every power steering house. I mean, we've rebuilt like all the major systems of this car now. New coolant hoses, the 4 in and out of the thermostat housing up here to the expansion tank, new fluids. Runs and sounds great. Drives great, minus the shit alignment right now because we've replaced the tie rods and it steers a little left, so it'll have to get aligned. A lot of work. It's going to look new. The interior parts room has become where we're keeping everything for the E60. Here's the old dashboard. Very modular. Everything in the E60 comes out modularly. In the E39, you take out the glove box piece by piece by piece. The door, the back covers, the side covers, the E60, it all comes out in one piece with like 6 screws. We're doing the rocker panels too, not because they were damaged, but just because, well, I guess they had been damaged long before the accident, just like people swinging lift arms under that had scratched them up. So these are new ones. It's just primed. All that has to get painted. New fenders are solid aluminum. They're just aluminum, so they're super, super light. We've got engine belly pan, the manual transmission trans cover now, which is cool. We had retrofit obviously the manual, and then we just modified the SMG pan. Now we've got the manual pan. We're gonna do rear suspension too. We've got springs, yeah, there's the springs. We gotta order the struts still. That's out of the 545, not his car. New headlights, we're gonna do the seat trims. And then for the parts, you know, with 800 parts, it's about impossible to keep everything straight. So on every real OEM Explosion, and we've got about 52 or 53 of these now, we've printed out the Explosion with all the part numbers, highlighted the parts that we're replacing, and assigned a letter code. So this is BP. We started with A, went through Z, AA through AZ, and I just filled out the BZ today. So we'll start with C1 if we order more parts on more Explosions, which I'm sure we will. And then we're labeling all the parts as well. So BP9 is number 9 from the BP Explosion. And in fact, these are extras. I can add these to inventory, but they hold up the muffler heat shields. Yeah, it's a little overwhelming, huh? And that's not even all of them. It's probably like what we're going to do. I'm not going to paint stuff and hang body panels. I want those gaps to be factory, and I don't have skills with that. But we've probably done about 90% of what we can. We've got the steering. They call those gearbox covers. One wasn't damaged, but there was a clip missing, so we got a new one there. This is the door gasket for the driver's side. I actually might throw that on now before I head out. And what is this? This is BU1. So that's one of the A-pillar covers. The other one's in Germany, which means about 5 weeks. The one headlight, the left light, was not damaged, kind of. Like it would be usable, but the bracket had gotten sheared off because the front of the car tweaked over, which has since been straightened. But 2 more headlights, and those weren't even that old, so that sucked. New bulbs, you name it, it's going in there. Hood insulation, Jesus. And then we've got boxes and boxes of parts actually in our secondary storage room in the bathroom out here. We're just throwing stuff in here to get it out of here, out of the way. We don't ever use this bathroom. So that's the hood, and that massive box, we haven't even opened that. At one point we thought we needed a new subframe, engine subframe, but we didn't. So that's sitting there. This is just body shop dust. That is not anything nasty in the toilet. That toilet hasn't been flushed in years, so that's why it looks like that. I did keep the old trans cover. It's usable if anybody wants it. There's the old rockers, front support, and then we got 2 new fender liners for the front. This fender, we're replacing the left fender too. There was a tiny little kink in it. You can kind of see it right there. So we just got a new one. And then these are all boxes of parts that are going to be taken to the paint guys, stuff that they're going to put on, kidney grills and stuff that affixes to the hood itself. Okay, I got to move cars around. Mine's going out. 5 are coming in. I'm going to go home and crash. I've got emails to do, so I'm just going to do that. Sit down on the couch, eat dinner, and try to get to bed early. It's M5 land in here. I mean, I've got 3 more out here and another one in the front, plus a 545. My God. All right, talk to you guys tomorrow, Friday. Good night.